Just understand how many people were on the phallic tip of AEW over the last 3 weeks of TV over the last 3 weeks. That's all it took for them to decline over 400 viewers total over the last 2 weeks since 1.2. The best thing was a promo segment. One of the biggest problems with the show also was the way it's formatted. The heavyweights open the show. Yeah, Brian Cage is an effing curtain jerker, and goddamn Darby Allin that barely even has a hierarchy storyline over a mid-card effing scene. Main events with Mr. fucking 10. I'm sorry, bro. Just, what are they thinking? What are they elevating over the contents of just tag team matches, stupid tag team battle royale matches? They're not even making innovative content. They're just making wrestling over the sake of wrestling. Why in the hell is Brian Cage and Hangman opening the show but Darby Allin and Mr. 10? One's a no-name while one is a string bean that always retains his title over roll-up, even against guys his size. And he main events more over the world champion. Let's just go over the goddamn show, man. I am sick and tired of giving this my patience. The Millennial Cowboy faces off against Brian Cage. They assault him before Hangman even makes his entrance. Dark Order comes to equalize the odds, but they got dragged over earlier before any of them could even get a hit in. Even though it's literally like 7 against 3? Well, was there only Hobbs, Starks, and Cage? How can you not beat these guys up? All of them look like crack addict jobbers, and then they just completely ignore it and just go over to the match. And it ended in under 8 minutes. I mean, this is the first time I'm actually disappointed in a match opener, because it was way too short for both of these guys. I think there was cutoffs over suicide dives, a thrust kick over from Cage, a deadlifting suplex that was the coolest move of the night, a buckshot lariat, but Cage wins it with the Weapon X. That's about it. That's all I can say. And it's called the drill claw. That's about it. Match was average at best. Weak opener. I don't know why the Dark Order is even there if they're not even affiliated with them over as a faction. They don't even proclaim what position is he in. Like they're just there. They're just overwhelming mid cards that only interest comes out of a skit over a YouTube channel. Nobody know who the fuck the Dark Order are, other than when John Hubbard was still alive, and they still put them over on TV, all because he's dead. The only reason why I see Mr. 10, John Silver, fucking Alex Reynolds main eventing Dynamite. Then we had the Seidel brothers face off against the New Day. I'm kidding, it's the Young Bucks. I'm sorry, homoerotic siblings, not brothers. Not the way I would put it, but still, just this match. This was supposedly supposed to bring over a new attitude over with the Young Bucks, but it's still the same silly shit. They try to make this an overly strung together squash match while still dragging this over. And still having it cheap, while somewhat using cheating, while they're still doing spears, super kicks, then the loody doody do to a right hand. Like they're trying too hard to make them either cocky, stupid, or not even that efficient in beating bottom feeders that are not even part of the roster. Mike Seidel's not even part of the roster, so they shouldn't even be an official tag team. It wins over the BTE trigger. Then Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels just roast the shit out of them, calling overdressed prima donna weirdo jobber bitches. That's about it. Other than that, just way too terrible of a tag team match. They don't know how to proclaim dominance when it's bottom feeders over in the rankings or guys that are just no names. Why are they having long matches with guys that nobody should care about if they're not going to be pushed over as top contenders. Hell, they'll maybe probably get them in a 15-minute match with goddamn uh, Joey Jolena and Sunny Kiss. My ass, I'm not watching the show. Uh, then there was Orange Cassidy versus Penta Zero Miedo. They keep changing his name every 7 months. I swear. Like, just nothing. They could have made this basic enough if they just had him do the comedy stuff in the beginning of the match, like they did in the beginning. Let him get his ass kicked most of the time. Make him break his arm or something. Make Penta look threatening if you're trying to do this death triangle shit. But proclaim Phoenix and Pac as the face, but Pentagon with a goddamn manager is the only one behaving heel. There's no contemplating contrast. If that's the case, why not just turn all of them heel or just break them up over that standpoint? Why or the Death Triangle even a thing, even though we know in general that all these guys are singles competitors? The only reason why I understand Penta and Phoenix are together is because at least they're siblings. That's about it. They tried way too hard to try to make this contrastingly dragging out the pocket segments, especially even trying to break his arm, trying to go for the Fujiwara armbar, a stun gun, a Canadian destroyer that wasn't even used to even attempt a pin. It was just over a rest spot. Why something that's able to break a man's neck, shut down the function of their lower region, literally collapse the brain? Like, snapping your neck is not a small knockout. It can be fucking fatal. Why are they using Canadian destroyers to, like, as a basic rest spot? At least a superplex, I can understand why they can knock some guy out and they can execute it for a rest spot. Not an effing Canadian destroyer that technically is your opponent taking most of the damage. Oh, they used over the microphone. And Orange Cassidy used it for the Superman punch after Pentagon reversed it earlier over in the match. Over the stupid Mark ass manager translator guy that just says, "Oh, what Pentagon said backstage, saying that you're not ready for him, and your mom, like what has Trent's mom got to do with this?" And it didn't even get a negative effect. Just Trent came and assaulted him until the microphone came out of place. Why is the babyface using? It's not like Penta even used a weapon. It was just a bit of a taunt and distraction. Pentagon didn't even cheat, and still Orange Cassidy cheats, and yet that still gets over. That makes no sense to me. I don't. That does not compute. That does not compute with logic. And you can say, "Oh, pro wrestling." You can have logic in a pro wrestling match. That's the semblance of psychology. Every step has a reason. That's the semblance of psychology. You make it make sense, or else you're just seeing shit. Oh, just completely brain dead when you had the inner circle coming around here over the limousine with their crap rip-off berets, acting like gay-ass indie NWA rip-offs, trying to do a sign that they didn't even originate in the first place. No charisma for any of these guys with stepdad bods coming around just fake-ass super kicking, doing squash matches that are over 15 minutes. That is a joke to me. And that is a reason why they came from a 1.2. Boom! They lose 100,000. Boom! They are now 889 viewers over just the span of 3 weeks after NXT went down. It is not like they were garnering even above 900,000 averaging, even when they were winning that stupid ass Wednesday Night Wars. They were averaging at least 750, and NXT could either just boost, the highest could at least go 780, and the peak during the Wednesday Night Wars was a 1.4, and that was just the first 2 episodes of Dynamite. Anything else, they've been averaging at least an 800,000 or 750. That's about it. This did nothing to get more outside fans involved. This this didn't elevate any shows to get any mainstream notoriety. This whole thing sucked. And you can see why AEW has yet to even try to glimpse what even SmackDown could do. I'm not even comparing Raw at this point. Next up was the Inner Circle and Pinnacle parlay, and it was just a promo segment. They didn't even put security guards. They were just lining up like they were allowed to behave civil. They didn't even put over a ruling if they attack each other, the match is off. So they just felt like, okay, this is just an excuse for promo time. And it was pretty average until Jericho and MJF talked. Jericho's was the more compelling. He wasn't like fakingly beating his ass. He said he learned from being from the bottom and finally building him over the top where he came from being a curtain jerker to how he is a legend today. Really good promo. Same thing over for Jericho. Just saying MJF saying thank you, leading me over to the inner circle. Thank you for being in AEW and getting more fans, and thank you when I take the mantle away from you. Great promo by the two. I think the weakest one came from Sammy Guevara trying to be a badass, and Sean Spears, even though he got buried later on because his career sucks ass. And that's technically it. Tully Blanchard didn't even say a damn word, even though he should add more legitimacy to it. Thanks. I think he's been in war games before. And a bit of history would make this more. I'm gonna call it war games. I don't give a shit what Blood and Guts is. It's just war games. Literally, you can see the silhouette of what they show over the image when they were hyping it up. It's two rings, one giant cage. What's different about it? And the ruling's just the same. What Tony Giovanni brung. And by the way Sean Spears pushed him, he just slapped his hand. Not even snatched the mic first. He slapped his hand, then he took the mic like he didn't even know where the hell he was looking at. Tony Giovanni looked like he wanted to cut a bitch. That's all I'm gonna say. Tony Giovanni's the best character on AEW Dynamite. Yes, over a 20-year veteran in journalism, in the wrestling business, is better than Sean Spears and anybody else on this jobber indie roster that is oversaturated with not even a smidge of identity. I don't even know what they're doing. All I know is there was no Caesar Brunani, and whatever the hell uh, Ryan Namath thinks he's doing on free television. Come on. Then we had vignettes involving Taz trying to tease over a threat, and I don't even know why they're feuding, other than Taz is heel, and I guess they want to program for Christian to make sure he's consistently on TV, and you get it on the team that lost to an old man, a man that's built like a Q-tip. I'm talking about Sting and Darby Allin. Darby Allin. Just average promo after we had a great segment, and then we had Eddie Kingston and Moxley outsmarting Omega. And I'm about to go how brain dead. I don't know who's writing the show. I don't even care how they're writing the show. I don't even care who's booking the show. Somehow Dave Meltzer, because he's financially affiliated with the company, means Tony Khan knows creatively what he's doing. If this is actually true, Tony Khan's a retard. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it over the nicetality. I'm not getting paid off Bleacher Report or anything else. Just talk nice about Tony Khan. Uh, just oh god, this segment was so stupid. So it was technically Nakazawa and Eddie Kingston, but Nakazawa wasn't even built. Even I was about to say built. He's the same thing anyway. He wasn't even fit to wrestle. I mean, with gear to wrestle. Kingston then calls out Kenny. He's like, "Hey, you gotta wrestle Nakazawa." Then he just takes him down. This experienced wrestler gets just taken down easily. Then he attempts to break his ankle. Kenny Omega neglects it, then gets another guy like Brandon Cutler. Wasn't he against Kenny turning heel or some crap? And then Moxley comes out, assaults Kenny, looks like a mid-carder, gets again, I said, you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. And it's like, okay, fine. Moxley gets a rematch come the same night as Blood and Guts next week on Dynamite. Fair enough. No, he wants a tag team match involving Eddie Kingston and Michael Nakazawa. Is that his way overly to make make up a more unnecessary long-term build for one pay-per-view come May. That makes no sense to me. That is so stupid. Why not ask for a rematch if you have literally the control of his career in your grasp, and you don't ask for a rematch for the world title after literally being screwed during the death match? That makes no sense. That's about it. Somehow, somehow the Good Brothers weren't even there. The Young Bucks weren't even there, even though they just had a match recently. So it didn't mean that they were not still in the building. I mean, literally, they can't go anywhere that far. Gonna go back to Cucamonga, California, where all you have is clit dicks and weirdo neckbeards. They come around just saying that California's great, even though every 24 hours you guys are in a drought. Next, we have Chris Statlander versus Penelope Ford. This match was just borderline awful. Just tell me why Chris Statlander's this of a commodity out of women like Penelope Ford, Hikaru Shida, Ty Conti, and Anna Jay. Ali, like, there's chicks that are hotter, more entertaining, or interesting than her and can wrestle better. I don't get it. This match is sloppy, really sloppy. There was a botch over a top rope blockbuster that went nowhere. A heel kick that was poor. These chicks can't even kick. Penelope Ford coming around with like white ass Twizzlers on her hair. Whoever thought that would be a good design decision for her, for this beautiful woman, makes no sense. Chris Statlander just does the boop thing every time, and it just couldn't get over. Statlander wins off the Big Bang Theory. Yes, that's her finishing move. Like a rip-off Glam Slam. That's the finishing move. Sloppy match. Crap babyface moves over to the corner. Can't even execute simple strikes. If you can't, like, if you're a pro wrestler, you're supposed to be praised over being over tenured in the indies. Even I wouldn't even like praise for that if I could make it to a TV show. Next up, we had the Factory against the Nightmare Family. This match was also garbage. It's just average back and forth after an into-it brawl. This match would have made more sense if Cody was involved instead of Billy Gunn, other than Billy Gunn wrestled one of them and lost. Blockbuster, then there was a cutter. Then I think the match was thrown out when Cody came in and hit a figure four leg lock with Aubrey Edwards just coming in out of nowhere. Her bucky-eyed, built with her little shoe bill nose looking ass coming around just like, no, no, Cody, that's enough. Get off of him. Rope break. They are literally on top of a bus. Nothing that you are saying right now, unless your security can literally let go of him, unless you're his wife. Lee Johnson looked average as hell. None of these guys are drawing, man. The effect of the story of getting the young guys to turn heel over the inevitability of getting in the shadow of the top guy in the company makes zero sense to me. And getting boring established guys over the young guys never looks good over a storyline. I thought we knew this from like back when WCW was dying. Back when the New Blood was facing the Millionaires Club. Or hell, Fortune, like the main event Mafia versus TNA Frontline, or fuck it, the Nexus. Because turning the young guys heel always turning heel is not always the benefactor of getting over. That makes no sense. So it looks like they're going to do Cody versus QT Marshall. Why not just have them in the six-man tag if you wanted to make this more intermediately personal? Cody, like, associates no authority. Like, there's no semblance of order over the show other than we know that he is responsible for it. So there's, like, no continuity. And then we have Darby Allin just coming in. And, like, how many main events has he been in? And it's, like, drawing the least numbers, bro. It is so sad that this is what they come over to for matches. Like, why isn't Hangman and Brian Cage a main event? Why is any, like, Lance Archer not facing Darby Allin for the TNT title, and they build it up. Like, what happened to build-ups like that? I praise AEW for stuff like that so they can build over to their big matches. They barely do it, and especially for championship matches. I don't know why aren't they doing this. Title matches on free television is supposed to be a big occasion, especially if the storyline isn't, a bit decent enough to be on pay-per-view. You want to put it on TV. And especially when you guys do bi-monthly pay-per-views, selling a championship match on a pay-per-view is at least supposed to be anticipated if you're going to come home from work or school and you want to watch Dynamite. And Mr. 10 just sucked. He was just big moves, weak spine buster. They were doing this to pay over homage with Brody Lee, like for the 25th time. Stu Grayson is like, Sting was trying to, I'm watching you. Even though we already established they were proclaimingly heel. It's not like they were teasing anything after literally associating Hangman Page over most of the time. They technically have no leader, and they've been in no semblance of a threatening storyline to even be taken seriously. Because without Brody Lee, they're technically just jobbers. All of them. Evil Evil Uno looks like a fat ass. He's a weirdo with a crap mask with crooked teeth. Literally. John Silver is gay. Alex Reynolds is a mute weirdo with wet hair that looks like Stevie Richards. He just looks like Stevie Richards. And Mr. 10 looks like he is the only one that looks like a wrestler. No charisma or mic skills. I know nothing about his personality. He already debuted losing in the character, and he's just shown to be threatening. Why don't you want to show these guys to be threatening when you put them on TV? Why you need two B shows? And it still doesn't, ironically, elevate the character. And then we have just this match. We had Canadian Destroyer, a Fujiwara armbar. I didn't even know why would Allen even do that. The coffin drop, it ends in a roll up. Again, it doesn't even feel like a decisive match. If this is like most of the time that Darby wins, and I would understand if it was against a more imposing or more threatening opponent. Mr. 10 isn't even that imposing because we already know he can't beat anybody. So why couldn't he just like be more creative and beat him with the coffin drop? Can't he use it like a springboard? So it's shown that he can be more versatile with moves like that. Like you can do moves like that. You get your opponent over bottom feeders on the roster. Why are you treating Mr. 10 now like he's a main event threat? All because of I pour some for Brody Lee, but not for me because I'm thirsty. Screw Brody Lee if we keep doing stuff like this, man. Stop putting his kid on TV. I don't want to hear any bullshit excuses. And it just ends with Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky attacking. Why aren't they giving these guys title shots? This is the second time in a row they did this in 2 weeks. They didn't even illustrate it with another Sting interview to do shit like this. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know how bad it is. I'm not a TV guy. I'm not big over wrestling, but when it comes to actually trying to create like a structure of a product that is a simple 2 fucking hours, you open the show with the bottom feeders and you give the main event to the top looking guys. Why didn't you close the show with just the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle hyping up your big match that's not even going to be on pay-per-view? Why? That would be more effective and it's going to get more fans hyped. You could have put just the TNT title in the main event, in the match opener. Leave Brian Cage and Hangman where it could have been later in the card. And just fuck the Young Bucks. Just you can make better shows, and I don't know why. It just displays how crap you bottom feeding neckbeards are, and the more we actually see more of this mediocrity, the more it shows that like indie guys getting free television is the worst idea. I really want AEW to succeed, but this is obviously not the case. If you come from getting 1.2 to 800 to below 900,000 viewers in just a span of 3 weeks, if you're getting that high, the expectation to be getting higher. And the more you have to do that, the more you have to sacrifice. Like, less of your jobbers getting over and getting more important guys to the show. Creating new match stipulations and trying to make it feel like an actual alternative. That's better than whatever the hell you guys shit talk over WWE because you guys really don't have what it takes to get over. Sorry to get pissed off like this, folks, but this should not be what I'm expecting whenever I'm watching the show. I'm expecting a newer product. They have 2 years to do it, and it's literally been 2 years since they actually felt like a new show. But that's it coming from me. How you felt about Dynamite? Please comment down in the description. If you feel that way, subscribe for more content. If you're in any obligation to or not, I don't want to know. That's it for me.